June 10th, 2016, Des Moines, Iowa. A 14-year-old girl named Jade Colvin runs away from a shelter for troubled youth. Nobody is particularly alarmed. Jade had done this before. The system logged it, moved on, and lost track of her. It would be years before anyone truly started looking. And by then, it was already too late. Jade had what people who knew her called a rough go. Her mother, LaDawn, struggled with addiction and couldn't provide stable care. At 13, the state stepped in and placed Jade in foster care. Over the next 9 months, she was moved between different facilities, different homes, and she ran. Repeatedly. The system would find her, place her somewhere new, and she would disappear again. Her friends described her differently than her file did. Sweet, light, bubbly. The kind of person who had every reason to be angry at the world and somehow wasn't. She was a sweet little ray of sunshine, her best friend Daneland said, just an angel. But the system didn't see that. The system saw a repeat runaway, a problem case. So when Jade vanished in June 2016, it took a long time for anyone with real resources to treat it as something more serious than a girl who didn't want to be found. For years, her family searched for her the only way they could. Online. Every birthday, friends posted on Facebook. Her mother posted. Her aunt posted. Reach out. We miss you. Come home. It doesn't matter what trouble you're in. No response. Ever. When Jade's mother, LaDawn, died in 2019, still not knowing where her daughter was, there was no sign from Jade. Not at the funeral, not after. Nothing. And here's the detail that finally made investigators certain something was deeply wrong. When Jade turned 18, she would have aged out of foster care. She would have been free. No more running, no more hiding from the system. Her 18th birthday came, and she still didn't surface. That's when the people who loved her knew. In 2022, a team of 4 investigators took on Jade's cold case as part of Operation Homecoming, a U.S. Marshals program focused specifically on missing children. Detective Cheryl Nablo from Des Moines PD, Deputy U.S. Marshal Justin Wallace, Detective Chris Wibker from Winneshiek County, and Special Agent John Turbett from Iowa's Division of Criminal Investigation. They started from the beginning. Social media, messages, digital trails left behind by a teenager who didn't know she was leaving evidence. What they found in Jade's Instagram messages changed everything. In March 2017, 9 months after she first disappeared, Jade had been in Arizona. She messaged a friend. Her mom was coming to get her. She was heading back to Iowa. But she never arrived at any address anyone knew about. Investigators dug into LaDawn's Facebook. A name came up. James. James Bachmersky Sr. A man LaDawn had met online and been dating for several months. He owned a farm in rural Decorah, Iowa, a small town in the northeast corner of the state, surrounded by farmland and not much else. LaDawn had sent Jade a voice message explaining the plan. You're going to live here until you are probably 18 and able to get out of the system. You'll have a good life, baby. It's what I want. I love you. Jade had gone to the farm. Her mother had dropped her off and left to deal with legal issues 3 hours away. And that was the last time anyone could confirm Jade was alive. March 30th, 2017. She stops responding to texts. Social media goes silent. Every form of communication, gone. All at once. Investigators drove out to the Bachmersky farm. James Bachmersky Sr. had 2 sons. The younger one, Brian, 19 at the time, had spent time with Jade during her stay. He told investigators the last time he saw her was 2 days after they had lunch together at a pizza ranch, around 10 p.m., before he worked the night shift at Walmart. He said he texted with her until just after midnight, and then she went quiet. The investigators weren't convinced, but they needed evidence. Then they found the phone. An old cell phone belonging to James Bachmersky Sr. had been recovered. On it, photos of Jade on the farm, one with her mother taken the day LaDawn dropped her off and left, one of Jade and Brian at a bonfire, roasting hot dogs, taken the day after their lunch at Pizza Ranch. Smiling, alive. Those were the last known photos of Jade Colvin ever taken. And on the same phone, text messages. The final conversation Jade had before she went silent. The timestamps matched exactly the night Brian said he was working at Walmart. Detective Woopker called those last text messages monumental. As the investigation deepened, a recorded conversation surfaced. James Bachmersky talking to a woman discussing Jade. In the recording he said, "I think she is now, but I don't think it happened right away." He was talking about her being dead. Bachmersky had sold his farm in November 2017, several months after Jade disappeared. He eventually moved to Georgia. His son Brian, unable to get answers from his own father, later testified that every time he visited it was to ask about Jade. Every time Bachmersky told him she was somewhere else, Tennessee, another state. She just took off. In June 2024, 7 years after Jade vanished, investigators arrested Bachmersky in Georgia on a weapons charge and extradited him back to Iowa. Shortly after, he was served with a murder warrant. At trial, the defense argued Jade had a history of running and simply ran again. They pointed to a handwritten note she had supposedly written with phrases like, "Once gone, do not get on Facebook no matter what." The jury didn't buy it. On September 2nd, 2025, James Bachmersky Sr. was convicted of second-degree murder. He was sentenced to 50 years in prison, with 35 mandatory before any chance of parole. At 66 years old, he will almost certainly die behind bars. At sentencing, Jade's sister stood up and told him directly, "You preyed on a child because no one your own age wanted you. You saw a trusting girl and decided to take advantage of her kindness." Jade's body has never been found. Her remains are still out there somewhere in Iowa. The conviction stands without them. A 14-year-old girl that a system failed to protect. A team of 4 investigators who refused to let her case go cold. An old cell phone that preserved the last moments anyone saw her alive. And a man who thought distance and time would protect him. He was wrong. ShadowDossier. Follow the evidence.